You're not our scheduled guest.
Maybe I'm on a little bit of British time still, but
are you still in bed?
No, absolutely not. I'm up. Am I still in bed? If I were in bed, would I have this?
Yes, because your wife is a lovely person who would make you breakfast in bed.
Yeah, but she would wreck her bicycle on the way to making it. So,
I got our actual guest here, not you, not Sean Ross Sapp, but
who is your actual guest?
Someone you interviewed about 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
So, who is that? That doesn't narrow it down at all.
the MLW World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, Alex Hammerstone?
You bet, baby.
Listen.
I was listening to his internet.
I accidentally turned off my phone. Listen, I really respect this guy because, one, when he was just a youngin', I said, don't listen to that MJF guy. Just listen to me about fitness, nutrition, in-ring work, wearing skinny pants, and you'll go straight to the top. And he did it, and look at the guy. Got nothing but love for Alex Hammerstone. And MJF didn't listen to me, and look what happened to him.
I feel like he's doing okay.
He's all right. But Alex Hammerstone's a great guy, legitimately. Very excited for you to talk to him. So I'm going to get the hell off of here.
Bye, Sean.
In the weeds, it's July 5th, 2023. The show
what a show this has already become.
It's already the #1 show. So Jeremy Lambert, you did it once. You may as well introduce our first guest again. Looking forward to this one.
Oh, from Major League Wrestling, he is the MLW World Heavyweight Champion. He will be in action on July 8th at MLW Never Say Never, which airs on Fight TV against Alex Kane. He is Alex Hammerstone. Hammerstone, how you doing, man?
Good morning, guys. What's going on?
How you doing?
I'm a wee bit tired. I'm in a different time zone, so it's 7 a.m. But
no.
Here.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us this early. Oh, had I known it was going to be that early for you, I would have been like, no, we can do much later. It's okay. I don't want to wake you up at 7 a.m. for this silly show.
That's all good, guys. How you doing?
Good. Well, I got to ask you first off the bat, did you take Sean Ross Sapp's advice? And is that why you are at where you're at now in MLW in the world of wrestling?
I was backstage. I heard everything he said. And the workout advice, ignoring MJF, none of that's true. He did tell me I should wear skinny jeans. That came from him. So that's the only thing I took from him.
That sounds about right. That would be his actual advice, to just wear skinny jeans.
That was his golden nugget.
How are you feeling before MLW Never Say Never and taking on Alex Kane? You have been the long reigning MLW World Heavyweight Champion, and now a live show, which is MLW. We'll say the knock, the criticism, the complaint from fans is like, we want the live shows. Here we are, Never Say Never. You're headlining against Alex Kane. How you feeling about headlining this live show?
I guess you could say the pressure's on, but at the same time, this is kind of the spot I've carved out for myself. I've been in a lot of high pressure situations with the company, and it's something I'm used to at this point. As far as the actual match itself, I've been training really hard. I've been working really hard the last couple of weeks, really changing up my training, doing a lot of different stuff, and just trying to come in physically, mentally, as prepared as you can for a big title match like this.
So funny enough, I discovered you not through MLW, but through your guitar playing, because I am also a musician. I play bass guitar. Who are your big musical influences, and do they actually play a role in maybe your character in wrestling?
I would definitely say I don't think the musical influences play any kind of role as far as maybe you saw someone like Adam Rose literally taking musician characteristics and trying to morph them into a wrestling character. I never did anything like that. But in the same respect, I always say being a musician was a huge prerequisite for becoming a professional wrestler, because it teaches you a lot about, performing and loving to interact with the people and, acknowledging the crowd and all those things. And, just just kind of being the ham who loves like soaking up, attention. It's like, after I was a musician, I needed something to kind of fill that void where I was like, I want to be in front of people performing and being the center of attention. And, not only that, it's like the whole idea of like, don't just hit a bunch of moves in high spots because, you're not just trying to get these crazy pops. You got to create something that has meaning, create something that has story, and create something that has, a little bit more substance to it. I was a drummer in a band. I quickly realized it wasn't just about playing the coolest fills. Like, I wanted to do that because I liked showing off as a drummer. It's like, you got to play for the song. As a wrestler, you got to wrestle for the match. It's, it's a very similar headspace to put yourself in. So I feel like I got a lot of those lessons long before I ever wrestled.
I also love the fact that you bring up, being a drummer and making sense with, connecting it to wrestling and making sense of the match and not overplaying the fills. Meanwhile, you're playing guitar, you're playing rock and roll style guitar, like blistering solos, and you want to be the star of the show and you want to be the guy with all the attention. I can see very clearly that like guitar fits you better in this case. And I would actually, I'll push back. I actually think that there is a little bit of give and take there with wanting to show off as a musician and wanting to be the guy in front as a wrestler. Like, you're a champion, you're the dude, right? That kind of plays in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I mean, of course. Well, like you said, the word is balance. It's because there's plenty of people who take the whole like, oh, you don't want to show off too much. They take that too much to heart in wrestling, and then it's like, okay, yeah, you're a solid hand, but nobody really cares about you. You gotta give them enough. You gotta give them enough pizzazz, to stand out. And it's the same thing as a musician. You gotta give them enough. You gotta throw some fun out there.
What's been your favorite title defense as MLW World Heavyweight Champion? Because you've been the champion since 2021, and you faced a lot of different opponents across multiple companies as well. To you, what's the one where, if I'm like, what's the defining Alex Hammerstone title defense in MLW? What's your pick?
That's hard to say. I really, really enjoyed the match I had with Davey Richards. That was a really, really just great wrestling match. There wasn't some crazy overarching story, or there was some 6-month build to the match, or anything like that, which sometimes can hurt a match. But in this situation, I think it helped because the story was the lack of a story. The story was just like, hey, these are two guys that are at the top of their game right now, and they're gonna go out there and give each other hell, and we did, and it was really great. It was really enjoyable. Really a feather in my cap to keep up with a guy who was, that talented in the ring. And then if I had to pick another one, it would be the recent match I had in, February against Jacob Fatu, defending the championship. Obviously, I won the championship from Jacob. I think Jacob's one of, the best wrestlers ever. Like, he's one of a kind. And it took a long time for us to get that rematch. So to have it, I took that match very seriously. I think dropped a bunch of weight because I wanted to come in with great conditioning, and I was just so proud of it. It was just everything I thought it would be, and especially after the first time we wrestled, after I had a very serious ankle injury halfway through the match, and it really affected my performance. So to get to come back and kind of get a clean slate and do it all over again, and get to kind of live it out the way I envisioned it the first time, that was a really great match. I really enjoyed that.
The show on July the 8th is happening at the 2300 Arena in Philly. I don't know if you know this, but you're undefeated in that venue. How does that feel? And
I don't know if you know this, but I'm undefeated in a lot of venues.
You are. Yes, you are. But we went all the way back to 2019, and it's a long time to go. I mean, this is a big venue. 2300 Arena has a certain amount of prestige in certain wrestling circles. How does it feel? You're walking back into this venue as a champion, and you've got a big challenge ahead of you and Alex Kane.
Yeah, 2300 is a unique arena. They have a unique kind of energy to the fan base there. I still remember I debuted there with MLW. And I debuted to a little bit of, a who are you type of vibe. And I had to earn my place with the fans there. But yeah, man, I can't say it really changes much. Like, I can't really say it's like it's a little bit of an X factor because, like I said, the fans are a bit unique there. They kind of swing their own way. It's like when I wrestled Fatu a couple months ago. Like, they were ready to see a new champ, and they were kind of more in his corner than they were mine. I don't know if we're gonna see a repeat of that this weekend. Wrestling fans, we're living in the ADD era. It's like people want a quick Instagram reel or a TikTok, or it's like it's hard to convince someone to sit down and pay attention to something. And it's the exact same way in wrestling. It's like no matter how much they love someone and they want them to be the champion, if you had it for more than 3 shows, they're excited about the next guy winning it. And I don't know if we're going to see that vibe kind of take over the arena this weekend. It's like, very much a possibility that they're so excited at the prospect of a new champ that the crowd shifts into his favor, and that'll be an X factor. But it's nothing that I can't overcome. It's something I haven't dealt with in the past.
When it comes to long title reigns, you've had a lot of long title reigns across a lot of companies, and you just mentioned the ADD era where people want what's next. We're seeing in WWE, we have this long bloodline storyline, this long title reign with Roman Reigns. What do you think makes a long title reign good to where when you keep winning the title, the fans, maybe they're like, oh, we want what's next, but it's like, okay, we're also enjoying this, and it's okay that this is a longer thing because it establishes some extra credibility. So my question again, what do you think like makes an actual long title reign good to where the fans don't actually get burnt out on it?
Well, to a certain extent, fans are always going to get burned out because, like I said, there's some people who it's like, no matter, you could feed someone filet mignon every night of the week, but they're eventually going to say, I want a cheeseburger. It's like, it doesn't matter how good it is. Eventually, people just crave something different for the sake of craving something different. And sometimes once they get it, they realize, oh, crap, I fucked up. I should have kept my mouth shut. You see that sometimes people like almost like root for a certain underdog in wrestling, and then once they win, they're like, oh, we kind of just were having fun cheering for him, but we didn't expect this to happen, and now we don't really know what we want. But that being said, I think it comes down to like, making sure there's, someone there interesting to oppose them, because it's like, no matter how good or talented someone is at the top, it's like if they don't have someone meaningful to build some stories with, it becomes kind of difficult. So it's like if you can, create something that people are invested in, people want to keep seeing that champion fight, that really helps. And then just finding different ways to keep it fresh, whether it's, different types of matches and things of that nature, shifts in the character. But it is an uphill battle these days because, like I said, I think, back in the day, people would only see like the wrestling when they saw the wrestling. It's like even the most available stuff, Monday Night Raw, was once a week, and then it was like you didn't see wrestling anymore. But now it's like you watch your wrestling on the night it happens, and then you're seeing the review the next day, and then the highlights on Twitter the day after that, and then the recap the next day on YouTube where someone's breaking down the show, and then it's like by the time you're back to the next week, it's like you've been watching that show over and over and over and over, so it's like you're already sick of what happened on that show, So it is a different era, but like I said, there's little things like that can keep it a little bit more interesting.
You kept it interesting in 2019. There was a talent exchange between Pro Wrestling Noah and MLW that brought you over to Japan for the N1 victory. Talk to me about the experience. That's it's got to be a bit of a different challenge than, say, weekly wrestling TV and all that.
Yeah, that's a different experience for multiple reasons. It's like not only is it a different style, almost dare I say, a different caliber you're held to over there. But also just the fact that you're on tour, like sometimes wrestling night after night after night in a different city. It's like you get on a bus, drive to a city, set up, warm up, wrestle, eat some food, get back on the bus, drive to the next city, find a hotel, sleep a couple hours, repeat. Like that lifestyle is a shock, and it's kind of puts you in like this warrior mode where it's like that wrestling is all you're doing. So that's why I really enjoyed it. It was a time in my life that I kind of hadn't had something like that like kind of forced me into that like hermit warrior style. And it was nice to do that for a little while. And the caliber of talent over there, it's just like everybody is just so good. They take it all so seriously. And I love that, and it really kind of like changed like my style permanently to a small degree, and like even my outlook on wrestling a little bit. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, we're back.
We don't have audio though, or at least
We may have lost your audio.
Okay.
We'll give it a sec. See if we can fix it. It's riveting audio, by the way, if you're listening in the audio realm. Alex Hammerstone is going to come back to us in a sec. We're just dealing with a technical issue. This was actually, I'm really getting into this conversation about the N1 too. So looking forward to wrapping that question up. Hopefully we can get to it. We'll see what we can do. Jeremy, can you do a dance?
You don't want me to dance. Why am I going to dance? That doesn't sound like good,
feels
good
like
radio or audio.
It's fair. I feel like if you did a jig, it might help. It might help people tune in live on the show.
Sami Zayn dance to hit him with a little bit of that.
We're already getting more viewers.
He's gonna pop back out, pop back in, hopefully, and then we'll see. I gotta ask him about Ribera since he was over in Japan. See if he'll bury Ribera, because a lot of the wrestlers like to bury Ribera, where everybody calls it. This is the lore of Ribera over in Japan and what it's become in the world of wrestling. And every time somebody has said that they've gone to Japan and I ask them about it, they always just bury it. They're like, yeah, steak's actually not the best there. Like, it's become the wrestling spot, but the steak, there's better steak places around in Japan. So that was going to be my follow-up after you get the wrestling stuff out of the way.
You get the jacket. Steaks. You get the jacket, and then suddenly you bury the place just because you got what you wanted.
See, everybody, again, the wrestling lore in Ribera is what it is there. You do get the jacket and everything, and there's all the photos and stuff. Do you want to pop Alex back on and see if...
Yes, here we go. All right.
There we go.
Are we back in business?
We're back in business.
Yeah, sorry, man. I don't know what happened. I don't know where I got cut off.
You're talking about the N1 being a formative experience, a very different experience, and just how it raised your game as well.
Yeah, I did all that, and I guess at this point I'm just ready to give it another go over there. Get back over there at some point. Obviously, it's a bit of a commitment because tours over there usually are lasting quite a bit of time, and I got a lot of stuff here at home that I gotta take care of. But I'm ready to give it another go over there.
I gotta ask about when wrestlers go to Japan. Ribera is obviously the spot to go. Did you go to Ribera, and what is your review of the steak?
I went a couple times. I've had 3 trips to Japan now. I think I went every single time. And the thing with Ribera is it's not really good.
I told you, Joel.
It's really cheap poorly cooked steak. You know, it's like there's a lot of places in Japan where you go where it's like phenomenal food, like um, but Ribera's not really that. It's like a cheap little shop. You know, it's kind of like thin cut, low quality, not like super lean, not super great steak, like just cooked to shit with some rice and corn. You know, but it's like the charm of the place, you know, and it's like for me, it's food I love, but it's like if you took someone who was like a food connoisseur there, they'd be like, "What is this crap?" But yeah, man, I had a good time. I'm a little bit salty because I went there multiple times. Um, I even went there like and had dinner. It was me, Kiyomiya, who was the Noah heavyweight champion at the time, and the president of Noah. And we both had our championships, and I still didn't get a jacket. I think one time I went there and they said they didn't have any that were big enough for me, but people were like, "Oh, well, you didn't get a jacket because you're not a big star." I was like, "Listen, I was there as the MLW champion with the Noah champion, having dinner with the president of Noah. I'm pretty sure the reason I didn't get a jacket is because they didn't have any. You freaking asshole."
And like, listen, I was watching Monday Night Raw this past week, and there was a dude in the front row behind the announcers had a Rivera jacket. So I don't want to hear not a big enough star to get a jacket.
Well, listen, I'm pretty sure these days wrestlers sell them to the guys for a pretty big premium on eBay. So.
Okay, well, since Ribera does not have, and this is the running thing, by the way, is every wrestler I've talked to who's been to Japan says, yeah, Ribera, their steak actually sucks. Like it's the lore, the wrestling lore that like you go there, but the actual food is not good. So where is a good steak place in Japan?
Man, I can't say I know the exact name of restaurants like that I remember going to, but there's a type of food, I believe it's pronounced yakiniku. It's just basically they have like a fire pit at your table and you're cooking all the stuff that they bring. And anytime I got to do that, like anytime a sponsor, like a fan was like, "Hey, do you want to go to dinner and get yakiniku?" I was like, "Yes, yes, always yes," because that is just so good, such a good experience. And they'll bring different cuts of meat. So if like you really like something, you're like more of that, and they'll have like shaved ribeye, and it's just so good. I did eat a couple weird things at that sometimes. Sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, what's this?" I'm like, "Horse tongue." I'm like, okay. But that was always really good.
I want to give you, I want to do a quick lightning round. 5 firsts. Okay. So your first live wrestling show, if you remember where these things happened or what they did.
I think it was Royal Rumble in Arizona.
What about your first gig as a musician?
This place called the Four White Walls in Arizona, and it was called the Four White Walls because it was just a fucking white box, basically.
First guitar you've ever owned, or first amp that you ever owned that you really loved?
Epiphone Explorer. I still have it. It's still probably my favorite guitar.
First concert you attended?
Wow, that's hard. Maybe it was The Strokes, like 2007. Maybe.
That was a good year.
I'm not sure if that was quite the first one, but that's the first one I really remember.
Listen, my first one was Weird Al Yankovic, so I get it. Okay, and here's the last one. This is the most important. This isn't the first, but I want to hear about your band, Whole Girlfriend, because I saw a little bit of promo for it, so I'm interested.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I don't think the guys are going to watch this, so I could shit on it all I want. I didn't name it. I was kind of like vehemently opposed to the name, but I hate feeling like I'm trying to be like the band dictator, so I just took a step back because I could see like these two guys were like, "Oh, this name is good," and I was just like, "No, it's not." But I was just like, I don't want to be the abrasive, element here, so I just sat back and didn't say anything. But that, all jokes aside, I've been writing music for I mean, I got back into it for a while now, and I've been doing a lot. Like I wrote and recorded a whole album all by myself, sometime last year. But I've been like wanting to obviously have a band together, and linked up with a singer who I was, working out with, and kind of like, he was like singing a lot of the songs I had written by myself. But these were like songs I wrote years ago, and was just kind of like getting them all together. But now a lot of stuff we're doing as a group is newer stuff I've been like writing the last couple months. So it's like a newer, I feel a lot more excited about it. And then, now I got these guys who are kind of chipping in their own parts, and it's been really fun, and we're definitely show ready. We're just trying to find the right time and place to find a show. We got a 5-song EP already recorded. Probably going to release it within the next couple of weeks. So it's exciting, I don't know. I'm not like, in my head, I'm like, oh, we're going to get famous as a band. I'm not like that kid I was when I was, 16, who, was all in and like, we got to do this, but it's definitely a good thing to have aside from wrestling, where I can put some creative output and, enjoy myself without having to put my body through hell.
The show this weekend is MLW Never Say Never. It is on July 8th. Alex Hammerstone will be in action defending the MLW World Heavyweight title against Alex Kane. Hammer, let everyone know what they can expect when you face Alex Kane, and then let everybody know where they can find you at.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing you expect from any Hammerstone title match. It's going to be the match of the night. That being said, Alex Kane is proved himself. He hung in Battle Riot for freaking an hour. So I can't say that our match is going to be an hour, but it's definitely going to be a main event quality match. We're going to deliver. We're on a stacked show with tons of talented guys. Tons of variety on the show. Title matches, women's matches, midget matches with Microman. I don't know if you're supposed to say midget or dwarf or little person. I don't know. Micro people. But yeah, we got quite the variety show going down this Saturday, July 8th. If you're not there in Philly, watch the live show on Fight TV. It's gonna be it's gonna deliver. I'm excited for not only my match but a lot of other matches in the card.
Where can they find you at, Alex?
I'm at Alex Hammerstone on Instagram and Twitter. Alexander Hammerstone on Facebook, and I think that's it. I don't have an OnlyFans yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
What is the OnlyFans content if Alex Hammerstone opened an OnlyFans?
I'd just do like pictures of like my dog's paws with like his toes, and it'd be like, "You want some foot pics, big boy?"
Oh, that would sell. People love dogs.
That's
dogs.
true,
That would
but it
definitely
might sell for
sell.
the wrong reasons, which gets creepy.
Yeah, that's
no.
true. That's very true. Alex, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Good luck this weekend. Again, folks, it is MLW Never Say Never, July 8th. Watch it on Fight. Watch Alex Hammerstone defend the MLW World Heavyweight Championship against Alex Kane. Hammer, thank you again, man. Get some rest. It's early over there. Please get some rest. Thank you for joining us this early.
All right, you guys take care.
Take
You
care.
too.
Thanks, Alex.
There we go. Alex Hammerstone, MLW World Heavyweight Champion, Joel Pearl.
My God, first thing in the morning for this man. Kudos to him. I would have been a grumpy asshole at that hour. Okay, just saying. At that hour, I was up at 6:30 this morning.
You're a grumpy asshole at 10 a.m. So yeah, I can't imagine you at 7 a.m.
I'm actually okay. I'm actually more like a zombie at 7 a.m. It's like my wife's just like, hey, can you do this, this, and this? And I'm like, and I do it. I don't do it well, but I do it. So. That's just how it goes. Yeah. Well, okay. So once again, just like on Monday when Court Bauer was with us, we kind of hopped right into it. And of course, today Sean decided to show up and reprise his role as the Eggman, Cuckoo Could You. But while we're here, y'all can leave a thumbs up on the video. That'd be great. And you can subscribe to us here at Fightful Overbooked, because we are marching forward and getting some good numbers. And we appreciate that for us and from you to joining us here. That's great. English first language, real nice. Subscribe to us here is what I said. And of course, our super chats are open. Any amount, get your question or statement read on the air. We appreciate the support as we always do. Tons of content here. We drop it daily here on Fightful. Overbooked. So there you go. Jeremy Lambert. Been a couple days. And really the big news of the last couple of days was like 3 hours ago when Eddie Kingston won the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship from Kenta at the show in Korakuen Hall, right? That's the big news.
I thought my Oreo eating contest was the big news. I thought that was what we were leading with because that is, ginormous news. But sure, Eddie Kingston, yeah,
No, we'll go back. Hold on.
finally-
Fine. Let's talk about you stuffing Matt Brannigan as you plan to. Did you win? Did you win, son?
Watch the product, Joel? Watch the product. What's wrong? You got to do some research here. No, I lost. I ate 17 Oreos in 3 minutes, which I feel was good. And I think Brannigan ate 22. So he's a professional wrestler. He had his shirt off too. It's a very intimidating man. It was tough, but Megabyte Ronnie was fantastic. He competed in the Nathan's contest yesterday. I know he's disappointed with his performance, but look, when we talked to him like a month and a half ago, he didn't even think he was going to do the contest. So the fact that he made it and did the contest is a big accomplishment, at least to me. And I hope he's able to continue to do more contests. He was great, like doing commentary for the Oreo eating contest. Brannigan and I added a lot to like the overall aesthetic. And otherwise you're just like watching two idiots just like eat Oreos as fast as we can. And like, that's not very appealing, but Ronnie's like commentary and like tips and like explaining what was going on, breaking it all down. Like just, he's fantastic. No matter what he does in life, I feel like he's going to succeed. Brannigan was awesome. It was a lot of fun. I did not win, but I'll get him back next year. We're going to eat Twinkies, I think is what the audience suggested. So we've turned this into an annual thing, apparently.
That sounds dangerous, by the way.
Yeah.
Doing Twinkies, when are y'all going to choke? I was watching, for some reason, I watched two competitive eaters on my YouTube. And I mentioned this when we did the Megabyte Ronnie interview. And for some reason now YouTube is like, oh, you like competitive eating, do ya? So yeah. So I got Joey Chestnut's YouTube page showing up on my timeline. And I'm like, all right, I'll watch some Joey Chestnut. I guess he's really good at this. I watched him do the popcorn world record. And afterwards, someone asked him, like, hey, what was the hardest part? And he's like, oh, some of the popcorn got lodged in my lung in the first 2 minutes. So I feel like a Twinkie is going to be a similar situation. It's not going to be as like, it's not popcorn kernel, but like it's going to get sticky. It's going to get gross. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm very scared of like Twinkies. That does not sound like great. Honestly, if I'm being honest, like, yeah, doing Twinkies just doesn't sound like it's going to be very appealing. Yeah, I don't know about that. The Oreos one, I was like really sort of prepared for it because I eat Oreos all the time, and I thought like, oh, I'll take two because it was not double stuffed one. It was the regular thinner ones, not the thin ones, but like the normal ones. I was like, I can eat two of these at a time, no problem. This will be easy. I dunked them. And I took that first bite. I was like, this is way more difficult than I thought it was in my mind. It was way more difficult. And then like, it probably took me a good like 45 seconds. We only did 3 minutes. It probably took me like 45 seconds to like really establish a rhythm. I think in a rematch, I would do better. And I think had we had an extra like 2 minutes, I would have made it closer. Next year, I'm actually going to prepare for this thing, and I'm gonna like practice and actually do this and get like how it's actually going to feel because I eat Oreos casually. I'll eat Oreos all day, just like casually. When you're going for like speed and like you got to hit like a time limit and everything, you're really stuffing. It's a whole different beast, man. Much respect to these professional eaters. Like people are just like, oh, they're just eating food. Like how it seems disgusting, but like how big of a deal? Nah, like they actually train. When we interviewed Ronnie on the Spotlight, he talked about like all the training and stuff that he has to do for this. Like it's a lot. And if you just think you could just like get in here and just like, easy, I eat all the time. Like, nah, it's a whole different ball game when you're actually trying to do this in like a competitive like environment like that. So big respect to all those guys. It was a lot of fun though, and I can't thank Ronnie and Brannigan enough for just like going along with it, because it was literally an idea that people saw come to fruition on this show when Ronnie said like, yeah, I don't think I'll be able to do any like competitive eating this year. Like the moment he said that, my brain clicked and was like, do you want to do an eating competition against me like on this show? And he couldn't do it because of contractual reasons. So we figured out to where he could do the MC, which he said he always wanted to do. So I think he was actually like really excited to do that portion of it. And then we got Brannigan on board with it as well. So shout out to them. It was a lot of fun. All right. I don't know how much people care about that actually, but
no, kudos to you, because first of all, Chad is like, Ryan said he loved the Oreo competition. Honestly, like I need to go back and watch it. I was not available because it's 5 o'clock on a Monday. It's a busy holiday for Canadians. It was the day, it was coming off of Canada Day. So a lot of places, businesses were closed. Pull the curtain back. That includes the daycare that my kid attends. So as a result, we were handling him at home all day, so I wasn't able to be there. But honestly, I think having Ronnie do the MC work, especially after hearing that that's something that he wanted to do and it excelled at doing, that makes me even happier. So go check that out. The video is on our Fightful Overbooked page. It's probably under the live, because I don't think we clipped it and reposted it. It was live.
No, it's live.
Yeah, so go check the live tab. It's all there. Ryan Lambert sends a super chat saying "In the Weeds GlizzyCon 2024." Oh God.
I will keep doing it. We discussed it on the live thing on the during the competition of like, if more wrestlers want to get involved, we welcome that for next year. Brannigan's out here throwing challenges. Ronnie's like, I've talked to wrestlers who say they want to do this. And he's like, I don't think they understand how hard it is. I'm like, yeah, I certainly didn't. That's for sure. Like, I don't think wrestlers do understand like how hard this actually is. So if more wrestlers want to get involved next year, we certainly welcome that. I do it because I think it's just funny for our audience, and I don't mind doing it when it comes to this stuff, putting myself in these positions, and I will keep doing it just as the dork who just goes through all of this stuff. But I would love if more wrestlers actually like wanted to get involved with this, and who knows, maybe next year more people will. Maybe people will see how much fun we had with it, and just they'll be willing to do it. But Brannigan's throwing out challenges, man.
I'm in between here. Do we call you Glizeramy or do we call you Jared Glizzy? What do we do?
Oh boy.
We had Glizzy McGuire over here in the women's competition. Or she went by Glizzy Lizzy.
Lizzy. Yeah.
I called her
Glizzy McGuire is good though. That's good. I like that. I like Jared Glizzy. I'm cool with that. Ryan says he'll do Sour Patch Kids. So, see, Candy. See, I don't know how this would go, but Candy's like small. I feel like you just like chuck those in your mouth like real quickly, and it can. But again, you think like this is an easy thing until you actually start doing it. You're like, oh, this actually sucks to do this.
And again, you know what the worst part is? It's not necessarily the stomaching the food. Like, yeah, you have to do that. Your jaw, like you have to chew.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to, I mean, again, go and eat a full ass steak. And when afterwards, your jaw might hurt a little bit if it was cooked poorly. But but the point I'm making is that, yeah, like chew gum for a long time and your jaw is going to be a little sore afterwards. That's what you're working with. It's the jaw more. Or it's probably the jaw and the stomach. I'm not a competitive eater, but like from what I see, a lot of competitive eaters talk about their jaw. Look at Joey Chestnut. The man's jaw looks like it's chiseled out of granite, which is absolutely wild. And he retained that hot dog eating contest on Nathan's. He got that mustard belt. What was that? 16 years in a row, 16 times in a row. Wild.
Yeah, they got to make new stars in this thing, man. Like, what are we doing? We gotta have some new talent.
Louis in the chat saying the chestnut push is getting boring after 16 years. This all goes back to the Alex Hammerstone interview where we're talking about long title reigns, how to keep them fresh. We got to start finding new ways for Joey Chestnut to have. He's got to defend it in like a triple threat, or like you pass the hot dog or you put a habanero pepper. I don't know. You got to do something. You got to put the match in a cage. That's what you got to do. They got to reach through a giant fire to get the hot dogs.
Ryan saying, will In the Weeds become the competitive eating podcast? Jensen loves this stuff. I'm sure we'll talk about it tomorrow on the spotlight, but he was praising Joey Chestnut. He's met Joey Chestnut a couple of times. Jensen absolutely loves the eating competition thing. And I think for those curious, wondering, whatever, one, you can just watch the Oreo eating contest on Fightful Overbooked. Because it was a holiday weekend and everything, we didn't line up a guest for the creator spotlight tomorrow. So Jensen's like, do you just want to air like your Oreo eating competition as a creator spotlight? I was like, yeah, sure. Like we'll do that. So it'll air on the spotlight tomorrow if anybody wants to check it out again.
That's amazing.
Yeah, on the spotlight. See, Ryan says I've downed a 5-pound bag of the Sour Patch Kids and could also do cosmic brownies. There's a difference between like just casually eating and then eating for speed. But hey, Ryan, like you're more than welcome. We'll figure it out. I think we can have a lot of fun every July 3rd doing this nonsense or whatever the Monday falls on. Like I think we can have a lot of fun doing this nonsense every year, and we'll see. We'll see what happens next year with all of this. Eddie Kingston.
Do we? Yeah. By the way, we're not done with the interviews because at 11 o'clock, I should probably plug this. We've got this has been the funniest few days with him.
Oh yeah,
from MLW. Well, I guess recently from MLW, he made his return to wrestling after a few years at Battle Riot. Snisky is going to be with us. Gene Snitsky. It wasn't my fault. Gene Snitsky is going to be on the show in about 20 minutes if you're watching live here on Fightful Overbooked. He's going to be joining us. We're going to talk to him about a plethora of things. Did you know that he owns an army, or he's part ownership of an army surplus store in Pennsylvania? Like the dude's doing stuff. It's wild. So we're going to have Snitsky on at 11 o'clock.
Are we going to ask him about kicking babies?
He's already been asked. He was just asked about it. I was doing my research and someone asked about it, and he talked about the Vince McMahon influence and the kicking baby and all that stuff. So you can ask again, see if you get a little more out of him. You could, but honestly, I got other stuff I want to ask him about. So
I want to ask what came out first. Anchorman was definitely after he kicked the baby, right?
Oh, that I don't know. When did Anchorman come out? I was in high school.
Yeah, let me look this up. Anchorman came out in
2004.
Yeah, okay. So when did Snitsky kick the baby?
Snitsky kicks baby.
2004. Oh,
wow. Same time.
Okay, so which came? Anchorman had to. It was November when he kicked the baby.
Anchorman was July 9, 2004. So it happened just before. Or just after. Anchorman.
So what I want to know is, was Jack Black punting the puppy off the bridge? Was that the basis for him punting the baby?
Not if it was a Vince McMahon call, because Vince McMahon only watches WWE programming. So I don't know. Vince usually speaks true to life. So I don't know. Maybe you should ask that question actually, because now we've answered the important question of which came first, the Anchorman or the baby kick, the puppy or the baby, which came first.
I'm gonna ask that. That's gonna be my big question to ask Gene Snisky for MLW.
Yes, he's Snisky in MLW. That's not a typo. That's actually what he's going under in MLW. I assume it's a copyright thing. So Eddie Kingston won his first major singles championship for a major promotion, capturing the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship. Listen, I think this is really cool. I think it's great. You can see the just the emotion in Eddie's eyes and in his face when he did it. He beat Kenta this morning in Corkin Hall, which is, again, for anyone who's like as big of a wrestling fan as Eddie Kingston is and talks about, you can understand why that's important to him. My hope coming out of this is that the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship becomes a more important title than it has been over the last 6 to 8 months. But how do you feel? I mean, you're an Eddie Kingston fan. I feel like most people are.
I was very happy for Eddie Kingston. I was looking forward to like the Kenta reign when he got it from Fred Rosser. First off, the Tom Lawler and Fred Rosser reigns were very good. It helped really establish New Japan Strong and everything, especially during Lawler's reign, like kicked off like during the pandemic era. So like they were still doing like empty arena kind of stuff. So like to establish the belt during that time Tom Lawler and Fred Rosser did a great job. When Kenta got it, I was like, oh, Kenta's got a lot of name value and is a name a lot of people like and know and everything. I thought, oh, this is going to be good. And then it really wasn't. And then he lost to Hikuleu, and then Hikuleu's reign was like 2 days, and then he lost it back to Kenta. And Kenta this was his first title defense, and he lost it. So the Kenta reign was on 2 levels, on 2 different reigns, was not very good. Now Eddie gets it, and I hope they can really reestablish it to where it was, honestly, before Kenta. And I know that wasn't even that long ago. Kenta just won it this year. So it's not like it's had this long history of like bad reigns or anything. It was just this year. But I hope Eddie can really reestablish it, and they work to really reestablish that. He's going to be competing in the G1, so they can set up a lot of stuff through the G1, because Eddie, spoiler alert, is not going to go undefeated in the G1.
What?
He's going to take some losses. Everybody takes losses.
No, come on. When Okada was IWGP champion, he ran the gamut, won the entire G1, never lost a match. That's what happened, right? That's how memory remembers this. Yeah, that's a good point. He will lose. He will lose matches along the way.
Yeah, he will take some losses, and they will set up some matches for the strong title off of those losses, because that's what they like to do in the G1 tournament. Like when, the IWGP Sonata's in it, I'm sure he will take an L at some point in the G1, and that'll set up a title defense at their November show that escapes my mind right now. So that's just how it works. So I look forward to whoever beats Eddie Kingston in the G1, and then I look forward to how they set that up when it comes to the title defenses for the strong open weight title. Hopefully in Japan, when some of these matches happen. I know Eddie likes to keep wrestling Japan. He's obviously got stuff to do in AEW, and this is where I think things can be a little tricky. We saw with Willow also. Well, sorry to spoil all this. It's aired.
It's not spoiled. It's aired. It was on. I get that some of us haven't watched the show in full yet, but you can put it out there. Yeah, we were going to talk about Willow next anyway, so go ahead.
So Willow won the strong women's title, the first strong women's champion, and it seemed reportedly that was not supposed to be her spot, but Mercedes got injured, so they called an audible there, and she got the belt. She defended it twice, but then she lost to Toni Storm at Forbidden Door. She lost the title today to Julia. Willow's facing Athena on Saturday at Collision as part of the Own Heart tournament. I think she's probably going to take that L as well. And maybe they didn't want the strong women's champion losing first to Toni Storm and then to Athena, the ROH champion. So they got the title off of her. They got it to Julia, who they can protect a little bit more in Japan. My point to bring this all back around is Eddie's still in AEW/ROH. Is he going to take losses there, or do they have to be a little bit more protective of him? And if that's the case, how protective are they going to be? And do they just decide it's not worth protecting Eddie this much on these shows? Let's go ahead and take the title off of him pretty quickly when it comes to Japan Strong. Oh boy.
No, I'm actually kind of serious about this. They could run it. Talking about ROH, he still wants Claudio for the ROH championship. They're not going to run it at Death Before Dishonor because, like you said, Eddie's in the G1 and Death Before Dishonor is during the G1 time. But what if they do a title for title match? What if it's Claudio versus Eddie, title for winner take all, and Claudio wins the New Japan Strong Open Weight Championship? Claudio just did his New Japan debut, and to very large fanfare, people were quite happy with his work, and he was excited to go back. Maybe that's a place to go, or at least revisit Claudio in Japan. I could see that being the case. I don't know if that's something that Tony Khan or that Gato or anyone in New Japan want to do, but I kind of wouldn't be surprised if they do something like that.
There's a lot of possibilities with Eddie just as the champion, right? Because he is working AEW. He is working ROH. Now he's in Japan right now. Strong, they run their tentpole events in America. So Eddie's been working those shows as well throughout the past few years. So he can still be working those. Look, I think Eddie is a great champion. I think they can do a lot with it, and he can have title defenses against really anybody from any of those brands, companies, And it would make a lot of sense, and it would help establish Eddie as the champion and just the title overall. But that's where it does come down to, okay, the champion is technically an AEW contracted talent with a New Japan championship. And I understand they got a good relationship. The partnership is strong. The partnership is good. But there's still booking philosophies and booking holdups that can complicate these matters. And that's what they have to navigate. Like, who is AEW willing to beat to make sure that Eddie doesn't take a loss? Who is AEW willing to have Eddie beat, but is New Japan happy with their champion taking that loss? Like, there's just got to be compromise on that stuff. And I think we've seen some of that compromise very quickly, in the very short period of time with Willow of, yeah, she can lose to the AEW women's champion at Forbidden Door. That's okay. But can she lose to the ROH women's champion on an episode of Collision? Don't know if I fully like that. Okay, let's get the title on Julia here. And again, I know that was a different scenario because Willow reportedly wasn't supposed to win that match anyway. But these are just the kind of holdups and complications and compromises that have to be navigated with this stuff.
I do wonder, though, was Julia always supposed to win the New Japan Strong title this weekend? If Mercedes had been champion, and that's the thing, I don't love that Willow dropped the title this quickly. I thought the reign should have been a little bit longer. She's the first women's New Japan Strong champion. I think we could have set it up better. And I understand there are certain circumstances that play into it, but you can move around some things and play with some wins and losses to make her remain credible and maybe not go to Julia right away. I get that Julia on the card was a big deal for the weekend, for the shows, but I don't know. I get it. I'm not upset about Julia holding that championship. I just wonder, why do we go there so quickly?
Well, this is what I'm trying to throw out here, Joel, is did they go there so quickly because they put Willow in this tournament and she just lost to Tony and she might be losing to Athena, and it's like, hey, we don't need our strong women's champion being 2-2 as the champion. She has 2 title defenses, but then she has losses to the AEW champion and the ROH champion. That doesn't make us look very great.
I get that. And again, like I fully understand where you're coming from. My feeling was just like, we could have, what you're saying, we also could have worked with because it happened in the past now. Like there could have been something different. I don't know what it was. Willow could have gone to the finals of the Owen and faced Britt Baker, whoever it's going to be. But I still think it's Athena who's going to win the Owen this year, but that's just me. Again, that's just me. So I don't know. I don't hate it, but I understand why they did it. I just wish they kind of would have given her a little bit more on that championship reign. But again, I'm not going to complain. She did the best that she could do with what she had.
Yeah, and we don't know where it was supposed to go with Mercedes. Reportedly supposed to be in the first champion anyway. They had to call the audible with Willow. That switched up things, and it became what it became. Theoretically, you could have just taken Willow out of the Owen and not put her in there in the first place, and then that would have protected her a little bit more. And then you move on with things from there. And we talked about that. We talked about maybe putting Taya in Willow's spot. So Taya wins the first round, but then maybe loses to Athena in the second round. But at least you have a Canadian talent in this tournament because they didn't have any Canadian talent in the tournament.
So I'm looking forward to it. It was a good show. Go check out the New Japan Strong weekend of shows. Our own Alex Coughlin, who was on the show, has won some gold as well. So go check that out. Billet Club War Dogs continue to impress as they should. So looking forward to that. He's a little bit early. Shall we get to it?
Yes, you're doing the intro.
I'm doing the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not his fault, but he's here today. And I'm very excited to include him on the show. MLW's own, well, now he is, at least he made his re-debut. He showed up at the Battle Riot, and he's going to be at the Fallout from 2300 Arena at Never Say Never. It is the one and only Snisky. Hello, Snisky. How you doing?
Hello.
Can you hear us all right?
I can hear you.
Perfect.
Why can't I hear you?
Oh, now you can't hear us.
Hear us?
How about now? Can you hear us now? This is a banner day for us.
Yeah, a lot of audio issues here today.
You know, when I rip this show, I'm gonna have a lot of
I can't hear you.
You can hear us.
Hmm.
Can or cannot?
I feel like he said can't.
Cannot. Yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some fun here. Okay, you can see us. We're okay. Hang on. I'm gonna, for the audio friends, you're gonna get this all clipped out later on. Pop into settings. Okay.
Work some magic here, Joel Pearl.
Oh, and he just popped off.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. The beauty of a live show with guests.
Hopefully he comes back. Okay, let's see if this works.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
I'm just gonna let him know. Let's try bringing him on again. Okay, let's see. If he can hear us now, maybe he can actually give us a thumbs up. He can hear us now. Wonderful. Snisky is
All
here.
right.
Hello.
What's up?
How you doing?
Tremendous. How about you guys?
Doing well.
Doing well.
Gotta love technology, right?
Yes,
That's how it goes.
exactly.
Well, let's hop right into it. You made your MLW debut and really your wrestling return after a few years at the Battle Riot. How'd this all come about? What brought you into MLW and what's keeping you here?
Well, I got contacted by Lance Anawai, who was, part of the Samoan dynasty, and his dad actually trained me. His dad and his grandfather, Alpha. So he reached out to me and was like, "Hey, Oos, you want to, do some stuff with MLW? Court wants to bring you in." I was like, "Heck yeah, man, let's do it." I love those guys. I love Court. I know Court a long time. We go way, way back. He's, created quite a thing for himself here with MLW, and I was honored to be involved. And here we go. Let's do it. As the show says for Saturday, never say never.
Do you know who you're facing on Saturday? It just says you are in action. Have you been given a heads up, or are you just gonna kick whoever is put in front of you?
Well, I've been told by a little birdie that it's possibly Micro Man, but if that's the case, he's going to be Nanometer Man after I get done with him, because I'm going to knock him around like a redheaded stepchild. And no offense to redheaded stepchilds, but you might want to have the stretcher ready in Philly, because I'm bringing it, and I'm bringing it hard and fast, and whatever happens, it's not my fault.
Okay, hold on. If Micro Man is the guy that Snitsky gets, what are the odds that we see a certain punt spot come back in MLW now?
Well, I hate to be cliche, but never say never.
Of course.
See how I'm plugging that name right into almost everything I'm talking about? It's called Marketing 101, boys.
Do you have the "It's Not My Fault" T-shirt? Because I was listening to an interview, I believe, with Brian Hebner, where you were on, and you said you'd make a killing off these shirts, but you haven't done them. Do we have these ready to go?
We do. ProWrestlingTees.com. Just search Snitsky. I got all kind of merch there. They were nice enough to contact me, and we started a little store there. So any Snitsky fan could get your Snitsky merch at ProWrestlingTees.com. And then just search Snitsky. I have a plethora of amazing items, if I say so myself.
Are there any weird items that you've got in there that you wanna plug?
It all depends on what you consider weird. Weird to somebody might be awesome to somebody else.
That's
so
fair.
You got to specify. What do you mean by weird? Are you calling me weird?
No,
That hurts me.
Yeah, Joel, are you calling Snitsky weird?
Don't make
Will
me
you
come
punch-
through the screen.
Yeah, will you punch Joel Pearl? Will you punch him and then kick him and then just basically beat him up?
I definitely can make that happen.
Yeah, there we go.
We're back. You're part owner of an Army surplus store. You're clearly there right now.
Yes.
Talk to me about the store. And I want to ask there, what's the weirdest thing that y'all sell?
Well, that's a tough question. Hey, guys, what's the weirdest thing that we sell here at Priority One?
Sell or stall?
Sell. The gentleman on the podcast asked what our weirdest item to sell is. That's a tough question. like I said, it all depends on what you consider weird. We have survival gear, we have food items, we have medical items, we have clothing items, we got ammo cans, ammo, mags. I mean, it's quite a large store, as you can see.
Yeah, it's massive. Holy crap.
Yeah. We just opened. Oh, here you go. This is a nice dummy grenade, which we call a conversation piece.
I'll say. Just confirm
See that?
That is a dummy grenade, you're saying.
Yeah, that's not going to go off on this show.
Works
right
really
now.
well for dummies. It works really well for dummies.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we sell all kind of stuff. We're here in Hamburg, Pennsylvania, 1744 Tilden Ridge Drive. I'm usually here, so stop by if you're a wrestling fan, or even if you want to get some survival stuff or some, food items. We sell MREs, we sell all kind of stuff. So stop by, say hello. I'll always sign autographs and take pictures. I love my fans. So stop by and see me here at Priority One Surplus in Hamburg, Pennsylvania.
I was going to say, how many people come up and are like, hey, can I get an autograph, or just scream at you like, it's not your fault, and then, move on. Like, how many wrestling fans do attend for that?
Let's put it this way. If I had $1 for every time that happened, I wouldn't have to work. It happens quite often.
Yeah, that would be good.
My one guy that works here, Aaron, he was in the background shaking his head. Yes, he's a airborne guy. So we have all military guys working here. It's great. It's a good spot, man. If you're looking for what we sell, stop by. Be happy to talk to you. Happy to take a picture. Happy to sign autograph.
So you said you have $1 every time someone would approach you and ask you for an autograph or say it's not my fault. What brought you back to wrestling, if not those dollars that people will give you for that opportunity?
Like I said, man, I like Court. I like, obviously Lance. I'm tight with Lance, the Anawai's, the whole family. They trained me. I know all of them on a personal level. I love those guys. I just like entertaining, man. The guys here at the shop will tell you, I'm always goofing around, always trying to have fun. And what better way to have fun and get to beat people up than pro wrestling, right?
So I would assume the most infamous segment that you've been part of was the baby punting segment. And I know you said this is a Vince McMahon idea, but I have to ask. So this segment happened in November of 2004. In July 2004, a little movie called Anchorman came out, and there's a very famous scene where Jack Black punts a puppy off of a bridge. Do you think that scene was the basis for you punting this baby?
Honestly, I don't know how it materialized, but at the time I was at WWE, I was working with Dan Madigan, who wrote Kane's movie, See No Evil. Dan's a great guy. I still keep in touch with him. I love Dan. He came up with that whole storyline. So you'd have to ask Dan how that all materialized. But to this day, I still get people coming in. Oh, I just watched your thing where you kicked the baby. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy how that took a life of its own. Because like you said, that happened in 2004 and we're in 2023 now. So if my math is good, let me pull off my shoe so I could count to 10. Hold on. That would be roughly 19 years ago. So yeah, it's crazy how people still come in and talk about it. But as a performer, it's cool to be remembered for, what you did in the ring and your work and your body of work. And like, I'm on the top 50 oh my god moments of WWE. I got like all kind of stuff. Best Royal Rumble elimination. Every year at Royal Rumble, they play that video, me and Paul London. So yeah, as a performer, it's awesome, and I love my fans.
You talked about the psychology of wrestling recently, and that you're not big on like the acrobatic show that wrestling has kind of become. I want to put that on its head and ask you, can you, this big man that you are, if there's a pool, can you do a flip into the pool, or are you just more like?
I don't need a pool to flip. I'm very athletic. I was first team All-State in high school in football. I'm actually inducted into the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame in 2018. So I'm a legit, real professional athlete, and I'm not a gymnast. I don't pretend to be one, and I haven't played one on TV. But I'll tell you what, if it comes down to it, when I first got to OVW, I would do a skin the cat to get in the ring, and I got yelled at. They're like, "Don't ever get in the ring like that again." I was like, okay, I thought I'd show off some of my athleticism. And they're like, nope, you just want to be big and scary. I was like, okay, I could do that. Yeah, I could do backflips. I could do all kind of stuff. I just, the nature of the beast with my character, Vince just wanted me to be a big, scary, crazy guy. So ironically, that comes naturally.
But has there been any like inclination or any like wanting nowadays to try something like that? I mean, a superplex is one thing, but like just to say like, hey, I can do this and kind of show off for a second, or is it like psychology among everything, like above everything?
To me, when I started training, Pops, Alpha Senior, would always tell us less is more. As a big guy, make everything mean something. So like I was always trained like a body slam. Let it sink in, let the person in the very last row absorb it, and then move on to the next thing, and then the same, and you know what I'm saying? So like I try to keep that alive for a big guy. I want to make everything mean something. And like if you look back on my footage, that's just how I worked. I've always worked like that. Like, I've had matches with Undertaker, Kane, John Cena, and when I hit them with a clothesline or whatever, you knew they were getting hit with a clothesline. I wasn't making it look like I'm pulling it up or like shortchanging it. Those guys knew if we called a clothesline, they were getting clothesline. That's just how it is. I mean, I always was told by Pops, got to make it snug. You got to make it look real. You're a big guy. If it doesn't, they're gonna know it's not real.
You mentioned working with the likes of Undertaker, Kane, John Cena. Any advice from those guys whether it was a character perspective or in ring work?
Just like I was just saying, I learned a lot off of Glenn. Just work your style, work your size, work your look. Like, I think that's the problem with wrestling these days. There's too many guys that want to do the gymnastic stuff, the flips, the flops, the this, the that. Like, if you saw me walking down the street, you wouldn't see me and go, oh my God, that guy, I bet he does an amazing cartwheel into a backflip, into a superplex, into a cannonball. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at me and you think, man, that guy's going to kick somebody's fucking ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the portrayal of my character. I want people to see me and think, man, that guy's going to kick somebody's ass. I don't want someone to look at me and go, oh, yeah, that's the guy that did the superplex or the moonsault, or like, that's just not my character. I think people need to stick more in the character and portray the character that, they're trying to portray. That's just my opinion on it. I mean, there's a lot of athletic guys out there that could do all the stuff, but if everybody's doing it, what makes it special? If everybody's doing the same thing match after match after match, what makes them stand out? What makes them differentiate themselves from somebody else? Nothing, because everybody could do a body slam. Everybody could do a suplex. It's how you get your character over, how you translate your character into those moves. Like when I do my stuff, like my facials, my body language, like all that kind of stuff, you want to incorporate that into the move. And that's what I think helped me to stand out all these years, and people remember the stuff I did because, everybody watches my stuff and they're like, man, that time you clothesline Paul London. I was like, dude, I told him, I said, I got to clothesline you right in the face to make you flip over like that. So it's coming, be ready for it. And that, this is how it is.
What would 20 years ago, Snitsky, what would you tell him now if you had that opportunity?
Buy a hot tub and a sauna. Recovery is essential these days at my age. I'm 53. I'm jacked as heck for 53, though. Look at that. How many 53-year-old guys that look like this? Nobody. I'm a physical specimen. I'm 6'6", 260 pounds, lean, muscular, ruggedly handsome, amazing beard. So the recovery aspect would be what I would tell a 20-year ago Snitsky. I'd say, hey, get a hot tub, get a sauna, recover. Try to recover as best you can. Because back in those days, we just wrestled, went on to the next town, went out a little bit here and there, wink, wink, and then just the recovery portion of it. Because I never took care of myself when I was younger. I just went out and did it, and moved on to the next show. These days, it's funny because I'll come home from a show. Like Saturday night, I had a show. I got home 2:00 in the morning. I'm sitting out in the hot tub till 3:00 in the morning. I'm like, and then that morning I got up, I sat in the sauna. So just like recovery stuff, because I've always worked out. I've always been athletic. I've been playing sports since I'm 8 years old. So I've had a very successful athletic career, translated over into wrestling. So I would just like to have known about recovery and nutrition and that kind of stuff back 20 years ago, because I never really like followed a certain diet or, recovered properly or any of that kind of stuff. It's just work out as hard as you can, wrestle as hard as you can, move on to the next show. But, you live and you learn. And now that I'm older, I've, experienced a lot of things, and I know how to avoid certain things and how to feel like, I need to, feel a certain way to get back to, performing for the weekend. So, just stuff like that. But you live and you learn. The older you get, you pick things up. And like I said, no matter what time I get home from a show or what, whatever, I'll be sitting out in the hot tub and just chilling in there. And I actually just went to Tractor Supply and bought one of them big giant horse troughs, and I put ice water in it, and I'll sit in there. Then I go to the hot tub, then back to the ice bath, then back to the hot tub. So, yeah, like stuff like that. My neighbors probably think I'm nuts, but I don't care, because I am probably a little nuts. I mean, running around in your underwear at 53 years old, it's not the normal thing to do.
You were part of a very famous match, the 17-on-2 handicap elimination match, where you and 16 other men faced John Cena and Randy Orton. This match gets brought up a lot and is memed a lot online. Do you have any memories of working this match and a 17-on-2 handicap elimination match?
I just remember like the nightmare of trying to set it up, because with that many guys involved, it's almost like a Royal Rumble, because everybody has their spot, everybody has their time. It's like, just like I always joke around with the guys here at the shop. I'm like, man, I have enough trouble remembering what I did yesterday. I don't know how I remembered all that stuff back then, with all the chair shots I've had and the tables I've been through. And like the guys just laugh. And then I showed them videos and they're like, ooh. Because back in those days, you got hit with a chair, you didn't put your hand up. You just got hit with the chair. There's a meme or mem or whatever they call them going around. The Big Show hit me in the head with that kitchen sink. And you can see clearly in the picture, I don't have my hands up. I'm not protecting myself. I'm just getting hit square in the head with a kitchen sink. And it, luckily I have a very thick cranium, because I've been hitting the head with a lot of things over the years, not counting the stuff my wife hits me with in the basement.
Hello.
But speaking of wives, hello, Carolyn, my beautiful wife, Carolyn. I love you. I won't tell anybody our secret basement activities.
Does it involve a giant trough and an ice bath? No, we don't have to get into it. It's okay. Go ahead, Jeremy. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna, look, we gotta mention the feet stuff here. I didn't know if that came into play, because let's
just put it this way: to not disrespect my wife in any way by talking about other women's feet. My wife has the nicest size 10s you'll ever find, and that's why she's my wife. We'll just leave it at that. How about that? She's 6'1". She played college volleyball. She's jacked. We have a gym in our basement at home, and I got to try to keep up with her, man. She just turned 54 and she's tall, lean. So I can't be like the fluffy part of the relationship. I got to be, I got to look good for the wife.
Speaking of looking good, you've got this giant beard. I know you mentioned it. Do you, because we're all bearded guys on the stream right now, do you have a beard care routine? And what is it if you do?
It's funny. I get asked that a lot. And, I don't. Actually, my buddy here at the shop, Aaron, that I was just talking about, he started growing out his beard. And the only thing I ever told him was condition it, and get a good brush. So he has like this real fancy brush, and he's following my lead, and he's growing a very stellar beard. So anybody out there that wants to grow a stellar beard, follow Snitsky's 2 rules. Condition. That was 3. I was just seeing if you're paying attention.
You've mentioned in past interviews your relationship with Goldust and how you guys were supposed to win the championships, but Dustin was kind of going through things like that. Have you talked to Dustin in the past since all of that and just kind of gotten on the same page with him?
Yeah, I mean, life happens, man. He was going through a divorce, Everybody's been there, down and out. It happens, I'm not going to hold it against them. It's, shit happens. That's why they have toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, he's a great guy. We had so much fun. The backstage segment we did that one time in Vegas is still one of my favorites. It's the most ridiculous off-the-wall backstage segment, but man, was it fun. We had so much fun wrestling together. He's a great guy. great in-ring mind. He like, oh my God, the stuff he would set up for us and the double team moves and all that kind of stuff. He's amazing. I mean, you know, his body of work speaks for itself. But I loved working with him. We had so much fun and chemistry, and it's a shame, but hey, you know, hindsight's always 20/20, and you know, people got to get their life in order, and I understand that. And he was going through some stuff, and you know, I don't hold it against him. It's, you know, it is what it is. It happens to everybody sooner or later, you know.
As we start to wind down here, I gotta ask, because you are now a part of MLW. Other than, I know you're gonna want gold, I get that. Is there anyone else in the ring that you want to face off with in MLW?
Oh man, there's a lot of good talent there. I mean, I have my little cheat sheet here that I didn't even get to yet, but yeah, I mean, MLW, we got, you know, Timothy Thatcher's coming back after 4 years. He's making his return. It's actually the first live MLW special in 4 years. It's you know, we got the Hammerstone Alex Kane World Championship match. We got Jacob Fatu versus Calvin Tankman. You know, the one I'm looking forward to is the Fans Bring the Weapons match with the Samoan SWAT team. Because, you know, like I said, I'm very tight with the Samoans. Yeah, one of the main reasons I'm even where I'm at right now is, you know, Samu, and, you know, now I'm getting to work with his son Lance. So I've gotten all 3 generations of the Samoans, so that's kind of cool. I used to travel with Eki at WWE. I met the Usos when they were just young teenagers looking to get into wrestling, and look at them now. So it's kind of cool, like the road I've traveled through wrestling, knowing, you know, Alpha, Samu, Lloyd, Alpha Jr., you know, now Lance. Alpha Jr. has his own federation now in Broadheadsville, Pennsylvania. I work with them once a month, every month, Battlefield Pro Wrestling. So if anybody's up in that area, last Sunday of every month, we do shows. Stop by, check us out. And but back to MLW, we have, you know, I think they're one of the best kept secrets in wrestling. We have a style different than everybody else. We do a little everything. We have the hardcore, we got the lucha type stuff, you know, all kind of stuff. So if you're a true at heart wrestling fan, this kind of covers all the bases. And that's what's cool about MLW. And that's why I wanted to be a part of it. Plus, like I said, I've known Court forever. Him and I actually met at Dory Funk's camp back when I was looking to break into wrestling. So he's actually one of the reasons, probably the reason, that I hooked up with the Samoans, because he referred me to Samu to do a tour. So my very first tour was with Samu, and we hit the whole Middle East, you know, all throughout Southeast Asia. We were all over the place. I was gone a month. So I got a quick tutelage on, you know, the business, and Sam broke me in, his brother Lloyd. And like I said, got to work with Alpha Jr. a lot. And just, you know, what a family tree, man. Just look at the wrestling business. There's always been a Samoan, always been, you know, a top guy is Samoan. Look at Roman now. You know, I used to travel with his brother Matty. You know, I knew Joe when he was just a college football player at Georgia Tech. So it's kind of cool to see how these guys are progressing in the business. But you know, I'm just honored to be involved. I love entertaining. I love wrestling. I love performing. And MLW gives you a little of everything, man. They got, you know, they touch all the bases. It's a top-notch production. Let's watch the TV show. It's on TV. You can stream it on the YouTube channel. It's on Reels. They got all, you know, all kind of stuff going on. I'm truly honored and privileged to be involved. And as the show title says, never say never with Snitsky, MLW, or pro wrestling, because you just never know where I'm going to show up or where I'm going to knock somebody's teeth out. Anything could happen. That's the beauty of pro wrestling. And no matter what does happen, everybody in the world knows it's not my fault.
There you go. The unglued master of pain, Gene Snisky, will be in action July the 8th at MLW Never Say Never at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. Go get your tickets if you're in town at MLW2300.com, or you can watch.
Yep, they start at just $15. Get your tickets. Stop by. I'm going to be kicking somebody's butt. It doesn't matter who. But like I said, if it's Micro Man, I'm going to change him into Nanometer Man. Do your research, guys. See what that means, because I do, and I know how to inflict pain. And there's pain coming to Philly this Saturday night. MLW, be there, or I will find you and snap you like a twig.
That doesn't sound good at all.
The unglued master of press is what I want to start calling you.
Oh, and don't forget, go to prowrestlingtees.com, buy my merch, get some now. Do it.
Plug your socials too while you're here, and then we're good to go.
The Real Snitsky on Instagram, Big Gene Snitsky on Twitter. I don't usually do Facebook or wrestling fans, but I also am on Facebook. If you get to meet me in person, I'll usually friend you on Facebook as well. But I try to leave the wrestling to Twitter and Instagram. But just want to, thank all the fans. There'd be no Snitsky without them. So make sure you, follow along and all the crazy stuff that my wife and I do on social media, because I'm also into four-wheeling. My wife and I go four-wheeling quite often. And she likes to have fun just as much as I do. So we're always looking to have some sort of adventure out here in the coal regions of Pennsylvania.
Snitsky, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And
No worries.
Have fun on July 8th. We'll see what you do.
Well, you will see. And make sure you check out MLW and all the platforms, Reels, YouTube. Check their YouTube channel out Thursday nights at 8. And, of course, check me out. Snitsky, I'll be there. Somebody's going to get hurt. Mark my words. Ha!
All right. Take care, Snitsky. Thanks again.
Thank you, Snisky.
All right, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. And there you go. Gene Snitsky. Amazing. Fantastic. That was, listen, I was serious. The unglued master of promotion. He hit it all. That was fantastic.
It was fantastic. So as we like to do, we'll go peel back the curtain here a little bit. We were trying to set things up for this week, for basically MLW week on In the Weeds, and I was in contact with Court, and he messaged me, try to get things up. He's like, "Hey, do you want to have Snisky on Monday?" I was like, "Yeah, that'd be great." And then messages were missed on, I think, a few sides, myself included, and so Court ended up joining us on Monday, which was fantastic. And then at like 11:10, I saw Snisky was in the chat, but we weren't sure if it was really him. We were like, "Is it what's happening here?"
Well, again, going back to the whole like his name versus his government name, right? In the chat, it was Snisky without the T, but the T is his WWE name. So we were like, "Is this the real dude?" So we were kind of ignoring it at the time. But yeah.
Yeah. So we weren't sure, but then you were messaging me during the show on Mondays. Like, I'm pretty sure like Snitsky's messaging me and is like trying to get on the show. And I'm like, yeah, that was who we were supposed to have. So I was like, yeah, tell him to shoot me a message. And then so it was like 11:10. He sent me a message. And by that point, like Naren was supposed to be on at 11:20. I was like, well, we're going to do like 10 minutes with Snitsky. Like we want to have a longer time with him. And we weren't going to shortchange Naren or anything. So I was in contact with him. I was like, "Can you do 11 on Wednesday?" He's like, "Yep, 11 on Wednesday is great." So that's how it all got set up. So I'm glad it all worked out. I'm glad he was here. He was very fun, and you're right about the unglued man of media there when it comes to Snitsky. He's it's not his fault, Joel Pearl. It's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
He's gonna beat you up too, which rules.
Right. He's gonna beat me up. I can't believe you brought that back around. And I knew he was gonna be the one who's like, "Yeah, I'll beat him up." Like, thanks.
Of course. Dan is mentioning my bad sunburn, which is factual.
I was trying not to draw attention to it, but
oh, it's fine.
Yesterday.
Yeah, it was. I touched. So I didn't really touch grass, if I'm being honest. I swam in water. Is that what you would say? Like,
it's like
got watered, got wet. Yeah, I got wet, Joel.
You're not weeds getting watered. You are a human getting wet. If weeds are not touching weeds. If touching grass is like A+, the water is like a solid B. Yeah.
It was a good day. Good day with family out on the boat with some family friends as well. We got hot dogs. The Coast Guard was just going around on their boat, just tossing everybody hot dogs, which ruled, instead of trying to get people in trouble, or maybe they're trying to get people in trouble, just passing out hot dogs to everybody out on the lake. So it was a fun day. And yes, I did get sunburned, as people can see. So this is what I'm rocking. I'm rocking the let's say MJF tan. He just has a bad tan.
Just a lot of color on him. Louis saying someone messaged him that Joel Pearl said it was his fault. I will peel the curtain back I said this to Sean earlier. I said, this man, Snisky, was the first person who's ever messaged me with using his gimmick as an excuse for missing the interview that we were going to do. He literally said it wasn't my fault in the message, and I just howled with laughter. But we appreciate him making up for it and being a part of the show today. He clearly, we all had a blast. So it was good. It was good stuff. It was a very fun time.
Yes, yeah, he did. That was the first thing I think he messaged me. Like, it wasn't my fault. Like he
knew.
like, he knows where the money's at. You gotta ride that stuff until the wheels fall off. And like he said, if he had $1 every time somebody said it to him, he wouldn't have to do this wrestling thing. So that stuff sticks, man. Like we're old and everything, but that nostalgia stuff, like if you're part of some of these segments, whether they're good or bad or distasteful, that stuff sticks with people. And it wasn't my fault. Like it's stuck, right? It is stuck for nearly 2 decades now.
Yeah, and it has. And you know what? It's the same thing. LA Knight's going to do the same thing. Yeah, it's going to be forever and ever adjacent and stuck to him. He's been doing it, again, he did it since before his WWE run, before his Impact run. He's been doing it forever, ever since Eli Drake. Yeah. So good. This is good. I like that Snitsky leans into it. It's a good interview. Good time. He's one of a kind. I'll tell you that much.
He is.
We got about a half an hour left. Let's I think we got where we wanted to go with the Eddie Kingston and the Willow stuff. Let's shift. After we got off the air on Monday, Usos sent out a tweet saying that they are going to put the Tribal Chief on trial. So this Friday night on SmackDown in Madison Square Garden, it's going to be a sold-out show, and I'm waiting for Fox to make the announcement that. And this isn't me reporting anything. I would not be surprised if they'd say an hour commercial-free first hour or second hour, whatever it is, to get you hyped for this tribal trial or whatever they're going to call it this time. They did that, and the reason why I'm saying that is because they did that with the Sami Zayn segment. That was also a commercial-free hour of Raw that particular week. So we'll see what they do. But what do you think? This is the next layer. Is Roman Reigns on trial now?
I thought the first trial, the Sami Zayn trial, was a lot of fun, and I expect this to kind of be no different. Honestly, now that we have Roman losing, I'm not like the trial thing will be fun. Like it's nice WWE cinema, nice WWE like camp, right? But the big thing here is just the fallout from Money in the Bank. No matter how they were going to do it, if it was just going to be for the third time in 4 weeks, Roman Reigns returns, if they were just going to do that little gimmick, whatever, however they were going to set this up, the big thing was going to be the Money in the Bank fallout. They're doing a trial, which again, I think can be really fun if they do like the Exhibit A, Exhibit B, like here's how you have been a jerk for 3 years. Now, here's what you put us through for 3 years. I hope Sammy is part of this. I know Sammy is said like, we're done with that. I know Kevin has said, but like they played such a big part. Sammy in particular played such a big part. Like, you gotta bring him in as like a surprise witness type of thing. Like they're doing the trial and Heyman's making his appeal, and Jay is like, you know what, Oos, I got somebody who you weren't expecting. I got surprise witness Sami Zayn, and here comes Sammy in his suit dancing like, oh, I'm about to ruin this man with all this evidence I got against him. I want to see the handshake and all of that. I want to see all of that again. Like, that's what I need. I need a Sammy Uso reunion here. That's what I really want out of this trial, because he was such a big part of it. And just, as the nod to everybody. But the big thing will be like Roman and how he reacts to all of this, because he lost. He got pinned. What happens next with the Tribal Chief?
It's going to be really fun when Paul Heyman says, if the glove, the one that Roman Reigns wears, if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit the Tribal Chief. He will absolutely. If there's one thing Paul Heyman's going to do, he's going to bring out an old 1990s reference to a trial that, anyway, that I would love to see. He wears one glove. Why wouldn't you bring it up? So it's going to be a really fun episode of SmackDown. I think Edge is coming back. They're going to put him on the Grayson Waller effect. So clearly that's going to be something. I'm honestly, I'm more interested in seeing how we start to potentially wind Edge down. It feels to me like the SmackDown that's coming to Toronto in August, just after SummerSlam, it's been teased for a long time by Edge himself that he wanted to go out at home in Toronto and on his terms. And he said in that Raw that was in Toronto back in October of last year when Johnny Gargano came back, after the show, Edge said, after he had a match with, I think it was Damian Priest, and it was the main event. And he said, I don't know how much longer I want to do this, but I know every year we come around this part of town, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is my last hurrah next time. So tease has been made in Montreal. He said maybe not. He's kept people guessing. What do you think? Is this the beginning of the end for Edge's career in the ring resurgence as it is?
I think he holds out for another year. I know like the way he's talked and the tease of Toronto, SmackDown in August and everything. I know that's been the thing. I think he holds out for just a bigger event than SmackDown. And SmackDown, mind you, makes sense because that's really where like he kind of rose up through everything. So I understand why SmackDown would make sense. They're going to run a Canadian premium live event next year. It's going to happen. What event? I don't know, but like
it'll be in Regina.
it's going to happen though. It just, especially the success they've had with the non-US premium live events this year. I think you're going to continue to see that trend next year with all the big, with live events going elsewhere. The big ones will kind of stick to America, I would assume. But maybe have they announced Rumble location for the Rumble yet?
Have they announced Survivor Series?
I don't know if they've announced Survivor Series.
Because I've seen two places. I saw the Honda Center in Texas, and then I saw Philly at the Wells Fargo Center, and neither of those were from reputable websites.
Right.
So I don't know if they've even announced the Survivor Series location.
Okay. Well, they have not announced Rumble. It was rumored that like Orlando really wanted it. I don't know if Orlando like fully got confirmed on that. But they haven't announced that. They haven't announced SummerSlam next year. I think really the only thing they have announced was WrestleMania in Philly. So my point is still some premium live event. It might not be one of the big five now. It might not be one of them, but some premium live event will be in Canada next year. And maybe it will be in Toronto. And I think Edge is going to hold out for whatever that Canadian premium live event is going to be next year.
It will almost certainly be in Toronto because if we're going back to the whole conversation about AEW running Wembley, if you don't think for 1 second that WWE doesn't want to come back to Toronto and say our gate was bigger than the last time a wrestling show ran here in 2023, then I don't know what to tell y'all. You know what? It's fine. I'm happy that wrestling continues to push itself with competition. That's fine. Little jabs like these make me laugh from both sides when they do like our gate was bigger, our gate's the biggest, more tickets, sure, whatever, have fun with it. So I agree with you. We would most likely see another PLE in Canada. Don't know where. Vancouver is not really a hotbed for wrestling. There are a lot of wrestlers that are starting to come out of there and work independence in, Calgary and Edmonton. It's been a long time since Edmonton's had a big event. I think their last pay-per-view was Backlash 2004. That was just after a certain someone had won the world championship. So they wanted to give him a leg up on his championship run. So it's been a while since Edmonton's been, featured. So who knows? There will be a Canadian show. It won't be Montreal, as great as it was doing Elimination Chamber there. You don't need to go every single year when you've got an entire country. Do all the PLEs in Canada. Why not? And then let me go cover them. No need for Sean Ross Sapp. Sean hates Toronto, very famously hates Toronto. Decided to do London, England. Decided to go to the UK instead of come to Toronto. So clearly he loves the UK now more than he loves Toronto. That's the way that it works.
Has he mentioned how much he dislikes the UK as well?
Probably.
Okay. Just burying the UK to me in our text messages that I've now exposed here on air.
My God, Sean just hates everything that's not Kentucky.
Imagine.
What did he say? He was so he showed up on Joel and Kate, by the way, for like a solid 40 minutes and just ate up our time talking about the UK experience. He was still there, by the way, at like 2 a.m, just hanging out on the show, just talking talking shit. And we talked about like he was watching TV in the UK and just had a lot to say about that. So
I want to watch this show. He had been naked and whatever. This sounds like horrible trash reality television that is right up my alley. I 100% want to watch that. I'm excited. It's Wednesday. You know what that means? It means Temptation Island and the Big D tonight on USA Network. I don't know if anything else is happening on Wednesday nights on television, but I know Temptation Island and the Big D are on USA Network. So I'm excited for that.
The D stands for
Divorce.
I tried to bring it back to Roman Reigns and I forgot how to do it. So.
The D stands for divorced in this case, Joe Burrow.
So what else can we do with this Roman trial thing? I mean, you can bring out Sami Zayn, sure, maybe KO. You could set up some sort of tag match on the show, or not, or you could just have a straight up. Again, I said this before, I'll say it again. I like it when bloodline stories are just between the four of them, five if you count Paul Heyman. And now I think, as I said on Monday, it's time to start telling the story of Solo Sikoa and where he lies. Because you mentioned it on SmackDown, they did the whole the tribal chief, and then Roman starts laughing and Solo looks over and Roman stops laughing. So who knows? Maybe it's time to start explaining the backstory, the origins, and the badassery of Solo Sikoa. Who knows? There's a lot of meat on the bone again.
This story, it's not close to over, by the way. I don't think they're going to do a match at SummerSlam, whether it's a triple threat or whether it's just Roman and Jay. They're going to do that. If it is Roman and Jay, they'll get to Roman and Jimmy at some point, and then you'll get into Solo. I'm very interested as we head into Survivor Series, because we had War Games last year at Survivor Series, and it made sense. They built an actual story. The Bloodline had 5 guys at the time, so it made a lot of sense of how they built that story. Do they run back a War Games gimmick this year with Bloodline being this fractured? Do we have people who like Roman can count on to possibly do this, or do they not do War Games at all? Because Triple H kind of said, we don't know if it's going to be an annual thing. It sort of just has to make sense. And last year it obviously made sense, but we also know how WWE operates when it comes to their annual kind of matches and traditions at these events. And we know how Triple H operates when it comes to War Games.
You could do War Games again, but make it more Judgment Day focused. So Seth puts together
Judgment Day going to be around by the time we get to November.
That's clearly another point. That's very true. We saw on Raw that, again, there's a little bit of miscommunication. Damian Priest was debating a cash-in, and then out comes Finn Balor, beats up on Seth Rollins. Everyone fights, and then they do the Roadrunner escape for Seth Rollins. I get it. That's fine. You're right. Will they still be a team heading into the Survivor Series pay-per-view? That's quite a few months away. If they are, I wouldn't hate seeing some sort of Judgment Day +2 from NXT versus Seth, a team, and then a +2 from NXT on the other side, because rumors have been going around that NXT could be part of the Survivor Series this year. And I wouldn't hate seeing that. I'd love to see some of the talent there continue to shine. Could be Seth and the Creeds, making their big debut, because now they're supposedly gone from NXT after this week's airing of the show, and the dyad continues to run amok until October.
What do you mean supposedly? They lost a loser leaves NXT match. That means they're done.
But there was some interference, so you could try and play something out of it. You could try to do another match.
WWE doesn't go back on stipulations. No, absolutely not.
My mistake. But they could run it back into the Great American Bash and do something about that.
No, not going to happen. We're going to, who would be part of the Judgment Day, right? Is somebody who Finn Balor had conversations with 3 months ago, and it went absolutely nowhere. And that's...
Yeah, but I've been told not to Google his name, so I don't really know who you're talking about.
Well, I don't know if, they remember he's part of the run sheet here.
That's a different show that I used to do, by the way.
Yeah. They've not brought this man up at all. He's not been part of the shows at all. He had those conversations. Maybe Finn told him hey, you need to go on excursion, kid. Go elsewhere and then come back, and maybe you'll be ready for Judgment Day.
Go learn a new hold. Go join the N1. Do the Noah. Noah. Yeah, you know what? I do think though that they planted the seed so that when they pull the trigger, it's going to be a bit of a surprise, and that's okay with me. again, I don't know if you take Finn out of the group and replace him with JD, which to me is funny because you're basically just replacing it's
Why
the
would
same
you-
photo. It's the Spider-Mans just staring at each other.
It's not the same photo because one is
About 20
very
years younger. You're right.
yeah. No, don't like that idea. Don't need that put out in the universe at all.
Well, then why would you get rid of Damian Priest, who is holding the Money in the Bank briefcase, which is typically a heel's briefcase? And it is right now because Seth Rollins is a babyface.
I don't think you get rid of Damian Priest. I think Priest just becomes. I guess I was looking at it from a wrong perspective of if you're going to replace Finn Balor. Balor to me is like kind of the de facto leader, even though they say they have no leader type of thing. And then I look at the other person and he would be the leader in Balor, but Priest would have to step and basically become the leader. And JD is the young boy in this case.
We're both wrong about who the leader of this group is.
Yeah, it's Rhea.
Yeah, Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, it's 100% Rhea.
What are we even talking about?
Yeah.
So that's again, if there is no leader other than Rhea, who is the leader of Judgment Day, no questions asked, you could easily bring in JD, and you can either do this reinvigorates and makes them stronger, or you can jump one out. And again, it's funny because like Roman Reigns in the bloodline, we talked about someone being jumped out forever, right? When it was Sammy. Now we're almost doing it again by bringing in an outsider, but who is the outsider? It's going to be basically a League of Nations at this point.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, in terms of I mean, like the nationalities of the wrestlers is what I'm going for. You got the Australian, you got the Puerto Rican, you've got the Irish guy, you've got another Irish guy who looks like the other Irish guy like 20 years ago. And you got the guy from San Diego via Mexico. Like, come on, is there something?
It's not League of Nations. They were together for no rhyme or reason. There's at least Judgment Days together for a reason and actually have had some success. League of Nations was just, hey, here's some dudes for John Cena to beat up.
How do you think League of Nations would fare today with let's just plop them into today and then take out the one who really sucked. Forget that guy. Let's replace them with another Mexican instead. I don't know. Santos Escobar is now in the League of Nations. Okay. So it's Wade Barrett, Sheamus, Miro, as he will now be Miro, and Santos Escobar.
Like, it's a good group. It's a talented group, but it was a talented group back then. And they were booked how they were booked. Anybody can
rebook them is what I'm saying. You got to rebook them in today's WWE because Vince is there, but he's not in the weeds. So if he's not, fully immersed in the product, I mean, even though he is, but let's just say he's Triple H for a change. How do you book them?
I booked them as a strong heel faction, sort of like Judgment Day, probably stronger than Judgment Day because Judgment Day has been going on for a while and they've had riffs and everything at this point of their stage. It's a strong group. Like you look at that group on paper, it's really good. But you look at the group on paper years ago, it was really good and they were just booked how they were booked. I'd keep them strong, but I try to keep everybody strong. Like that's sort of the point of this. Like even in losses, you still look good. Even in victories, like you're elevated. Like that's the point of this. You don't take too many losses to where you just become an afterthought and a joke. So yeah, I'd book them strong. Joel, is that the hot take?
Hey, you're supposed to bury them. God, what's wrong with you?
It's a good group. I mean, Sheamus is still doing well today. I mean, Barrett's is he's doing well on commentary. Miro's got success, and then there's the other guy. But like it's a talented group of people. They should have been booked better back then. I would book them better nowadays. I think they'd fare fairly well nowadays if they were given the right momentum and put in the right position. But you look at like the Brawling Brutes, I think they're doing like well, but then Sheamus is like, there could be more that could be done here. So you can always book these groups and stuff stronger. It's just a matter of where you're actually going to slot them in. Me personally, my personal taste, you give me a prime Sheamus, a prime Rusev, a prime Wade Barrett, and we'll say Santos Escobar, a prime Santos Escobar. Yeah, I'm booking that team really strong. Even if you give them these guys to be today, I'm booking that team really strong. Barrett is like a mouthpiece for everybody. Or you give me another, and you give me Drew McIntyre. Like, I'm booking that team really, really strong. But that's just my personal taste. I can see where it's like, you know what? This team isn't, we're not going to book them as strong. That team would feud with the Bloodline in a heartbeat for me, by the way. I mean, not this version of the Bloodline. It's all fractured and stuff. But like, that would have been my team going into War Games right there. Is those four, throw in Kevin, and then let's go. Still League of Nations. He's Canadian. And then, let's go. That's what I'm booking for like a War Games team.
All right. That's fine with me. You mentioned a lot of Prime, and now I just want Prime Rib.
I just say Prime Energy, Logan Paul.
No, I don't.
Whoa, gang.
No, I don't want that garbage. I want some food. I'm hungry.
Did you
what?
did you see his cover for the botched Spanish Fly and what he said about this?
Yes, I did. I give him a couple of marks for that. He tried to
best
kayfabe.
Yeah, he tried to kayfabe, and it rules because he's like, we didn't have our footing. I didn't know what I was doing. Ricochet's like, hey, we're just gonna do this. We're gonna go over. And it's like, that's probably the case, honestly, as Logan was probably like, oh boy, like what's going on here? And then Ricochet's like, just trust me. And Logan's like, all right, sure. And then it went how it went. Fortunately, everybody was okay. The best part was Logan just being like, it was unprofessional. So we fought backstage, and I was not happy with how he did that move. And so I decided to attack him backstage. I can't believe cameras caught all of this, and they aired that footage that was never supposed to get out as we got into a backstage brawl. Like, now that ruled. Bless them for like trying to keep kayfabe.
They are going to run that segment from Impulsive on the program on Monday, and it'll be fine. But, isn't he was challenged to show up on Monday, wasn't he, by Ricochet? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, they'll probably run that segment from Impulsive. Sure, whatever.
He'll probably say the same thing. He'll probably say the same thing on Impulse. Is like, they're gonna try to make a negative, and look, that move, it was, I guess, supposed to go viral, and if they pulled it off, that would have been a pretty sweet looking move and everything. But it was kind of a negative because of how it turned out. People were way more concerned about the safety of everybody, and that didn't look great, more than, look how spectacular that was awesome type of thing. So it was a negative. They tried to turn it into a little bit of a positive, like, he's a professional, I'm just gonna attack him. I imagine Logan will say sort of the same thing. Is they're gonna basically make wrestling sound fake of, why'd you do this move to me, as I was not prepared for you to do this move to me.
Before we jump to our AEW Dynamite preview, because there isn't really a ton going on Dynamite tonight that's been announced, but let's talk real quick about Rhea Ripley and Natalya. That ended up being a show stealer for Monday Night Raw. That match was really good. Natty's gear turned it into a hardcore match because there were sequins all over the ring. Take a slam and you get one of those things embedded into your body. But no, they went hard. They clearly had a point to prove. Rhea hasn't had a very long competitive match like this in a little while. And again, I say a million times, Natty absolutely showed out. Let's talk about it real quick.
If you know who loves Natalya,
I do.
Sean Ross Sapp does.
Yeah.
I was hoping to get on here in time for Noreen because she was great.
Yeah, that was Monday's show,
Monday.
Sean. Good job.
Yeah, I know. I missed it.
Yeah.
I missed it by a couple days.
Yeah.
She buried you. She buried you.
Did she?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
put over your Carrie B, but completely buried you.
Oh, well, I mean, she was great. That's why I wanted to put her over. But I just barely missed by 2 days getting here in time. But I'm here. I'm back on the show. I opened and closed in the weeds.
I mean, we got
running story thread here. Look at this show.
Complete game shutout. Talking about Shohei Ohtani getting this money. Listen, I'm doing this on multiple continents. That guy's never even traveled overseas before. Why am I not getting paid like this?
Sure that's not true.
It's absolutely true.
Did you see our interview with Snitsky?
Do y'all want to talk at the same time some more so I can't hear you?
Yes.
Go
No,
ahead.
no, I'm not going to say anything just to see how awkward we can make this show. We've already had a few of those. Did you see our interview with Snitsky?
I didn't.
You're going to want to. There were some moments.
I'm shocked that there were some moments there. What happened? What was good?
He pulled out the cheat sheet at one point and just read it in front of us on the air.
What cheat from MLW?
Yeah. Like the
By the way,
printout.
shout out to MLW for accommodating us very, very well this week.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been great to us this week. It's been a lot of fun. And we got Delmy Exo on Friday. He's going to be joining us. So we're looking forward to that.
Okay, nice.
Snitsky had a grenade, a dummy grenade that he showed off. Yes, a real grenade.
My God.
He was in his
yeah.
survival store.
So y'all were about to put over Natalia and Rhea Ripley, yeah?
Well, yeah, but now we want to talk about fake grenades because
Well, I posted a Fightful Select story about this. I actually talked to higher ups in WWE that were very happy about it. I saw some people being like, they must have heat. No, they like each other. They just wanted to beat the living shit out of one another, and they did it. I was told they were both pretty fired up Monday night. I was on my way back, and it was probably about 10-ish or something. I had already sat down to watch Raw, but somebody in WWE messaged me halfway through the match, and they said, if you haven't started Raw, make this the first thing that you watch. And I was like, all right, cool. And I feel like no respect is put on Natty's name in general. And she is not put in situations to where she can really highlight what it is that she's able to do. I mean, you saw the Hart family come out, not in the technical aspect of her work, in the strikes. I saw some Brett in her strikes that she was throwing. I was like, hell yeah, this is that stuff I like. Because, everybody talks about, they post the meme that Jeremy makes fun of. Bret Hart was a problem, that type of thing. And they'll show like a lot of his technical work, but his strikes were amazing. He had great punches. And man, I loved seeing Natty lay that in there. And it looked like Rhea Ripley. It was almost like the Mick Foley smiling through the pain thing. She was like, finally, somebody's giving it back to me. I loved that. I thought that was incredible. It was one of my favorite things I had seen on wrestling TV in a week. And that's saying something because I saw a lot of great stuff last week.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Chelsea Green, Casey Catanzaro, and Caden Carter for that absolutely insane spot. One of the best spots I've seen on Raw ever. I loved it.
Yeah, there was some really strong stuff with the women's division. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Are you getting us Chelsea Green on this show as Karen?
Why should I get it for you guys? Why shouldn't I just get it for myself at this point?
Because we were the ones. Why are you going to steal this idea that we have pitched, Ben?
Steal the idea. I broke the news of the character and immediately said I would love to interview her as this character. Steal the idea.
I don't believe that. I don't believe
the idea. That's you hastily aggregating something 5 months later. Aggregating my ideas.
I don't believe that. I don't think you said that at all. I think.
Listen, Jeremy, I know you take a lot of time off, so you miss some things, especially when it comes to stories in our chat. You're always posting things that have already been covered. But this is something that happened. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my Nikki Garcia cornhole story that I sent you?
Listen, I don't know about that, but I know that there's still up there by Cleveland. Everything is a factory, and it's run by they use cisterns up there and well water and all that stuff. Everything is like they're factories, but they're run by like the original machines. That's how it is. There's somebody that's got a factory just full of people that are biking to get the power going in Cleveland right now. So it takes a little longer.
That's the U-Haul factory. We saw that one. Yeah.
You know what's funny? Two times I went to Cleveland. I guess technically for your wedding is Cleveland, sort of. But I watched the hastily tourism video, whatever, to hype myself up. And then I went and ate. And next door, that guy was performing. Mike Polk was performing. And he was there like every Wednesday. It was great.
I've never seen this video, so I don't have
what
frame. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You're going to watch it on the air.
Oh no, we're gonna get copyright struck.
No. I just want him to react. It's a 48-second video.
Okay. Can you send it to me and I'll watch
Yep,
it?
private chat. There we go.
All right.
Okay, I thought I was about to
Tell
upload
me,
it, like,
tell
great.
me when we're hitting play.
All right.
The hastily
Play.
made Cleveland tour. Actually, wait, that's the second attempt. Hold on.
Oh,
Let me
okay.
send you the first one.
It plays automatically, so like.
Yeah,
it,
well,
you know.
just go to the first one. Here we go.
Okay.
And let me tell you, or let's go.
I'll pause. I'll pause and then hit play. Okay.
Okay.
Are you ready? All
Yeah.
right. Play.
Riveting content, by the way, for everyone. Oh, there we go. Now it's in the chat. So if you want to copy and paste it, but don't leave this. Open a new tab wherever you're going. And then, yeah, you can just watch Sean sing and dance to it. See, Jeremy, this is what I was
Shut
talking
up, Joel.
about. I've got dead air here. Someone's got to talk over this.
He
dead
can't
air.
hear.
And that's the point. That's why I'm talking over it, so that anyone who's listening.
This is great.
We still doing this?
Okay, so I went to Cleveland before I actually moved here. It was the worst trip of my life, the absolute worst trip of my life. This is 2016, and
Yes.
I said I would never return to this state. Ohio is the absolute worst. It's awful. I would never return to this state. And then someone slides in your DMs defending Bret Hart from Michael Thompson, and next thing you know, you're moving back to Ohio and getting married. It's
Well, now I got to have you watch the second one.
all right. So I got to click that link now.
What'd you think of the first one?
I mean, it sounds about right. I've really only been to Cleveland a handful of times. Like,
Well,
we're technically 45 minutes away from Cleveland.
let me tell you. After this video, you won't need to go again.
I'm watching the second one.
All right, here we go. 4 times in Cleveland again, still Cleveland.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Three times a year. DUIs.
Just putting that up there for our readers.
You
48 seconds is a long time when you're doing this.
Nah, not really.
Our economy is based on LeBron
Detroit.
James is honestly a fair.
We're not
comment.
Detroit.
Yes.
You know what
Are you
I
going to-
love? So we were in the media room for Money in the Bank, and Triple H said, "Hey, you know, I expect all of you to come over for SummerSlam in Detroit." Well, I looked around at the people from the UK, and I said, "Well, here's the great thing: for the same price that you would spend renting a hotel for 4 nights in Detroit, you can just buy a house there."
Flip it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So just buy yourself some property in Detroit.
Sean, were you wearing your I Was There Money in the Bank t-shirt in the press room?
I wasn't. Who was?
A lot of people. We talked about
really?
Joel is so mad about this.
I'm not mad
Joel
about
is
it. There were-
burying all the reporters for wearing WWE merchandise
Yep.
at the WWE press conference.
There are a lot of those people. They do that. I don't know what he's doing. Is he getting in the hat? Don't get the hat. Don't do the hat.
I have to go soon. I have
That's right.
matters to take care of, and I'm very scared of what I'm going to walk out into.
So MJF and Adam Cole in action tonight. Kenny Omega, Wheeler Yuta, Britt Baker and Ruby Soho in round one of they're round one of the Owen.
Yeah.
And then Jericho's going to speak, and I'm sure he's going to heal on the Edmonton crowd. Moxley's going to speak, and I'm sure he's going to heal on the Edmonton crowd.
And Moxley's not there, okay? Moxley's doing a pre-tape.
Sure, fine, whatever. We'll hear from John Moxley.
Yeah.
He's advertised.
I'm informing people that John Moxley, unless he caught maybe Tony Khan has a G1 jet that he can get him to wherever they're at tonight.
They're in Edmonton.
Okay, maybe it can get him there very fast, but he literally just did back-to-back death matches in Japan.
No,
I don't think he's going to be back in time for Edmonton.
They might actually bring him right back. I don't know what the flight time
Okay,
is.
Edmonton to Tokyo.
You got to go the
flight.
other way around. Hey, I got one of those.
It's the same difference, Joel.
Is it though?
Yes, you're traveling. It's a 12-hour flight.
Okay.
Ain't
So
happening.
if he leaves now, he will not make it in time.
It's
You know
actually
where he
closer
should
to
go?
13. It's
He should
closer
go to Las Vegas for SummerSlam 2021.
I did that. Why
I
can't
still have multiple mint condition hats. Got my barbecue towel
Rally
here.
towel.
that
I just wear this over.
so cheap as hell.
Got this.
Medium
No
size.
backstage access, it says though.
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
And a couple of clinch sacks. I've just had these for a long time.
Sacks.
And what I'm going to do is just put them in storage until it's cool and I can sell them to a vintage shop in Lexington 10, 15 years from now for money.
$30.
That's a good use of that. That's a good
Can I have
use
one of
of
those
that.
hats?
No, absolutely not. You want
He
to buy
just
one?
said what he was going to do
No.
with it, Joel,
He's
and
got two
his
of
answer
them.
was not give it to you.
Yeah.
The fewer there are in existence, then
Guess
the
how
more
much
he makes.
money? Guess how much money more than one of them will get me?
Less?
A higher price than one of them would get me, Joel.
Not necessarily. It's kind of like having autographs from people. If that person doesn't do many autographs, then
Well, I'll
it's
tell you
very
one thing
fun.
that I don't do. I don't go to the talent hotel and creep around for autographs, dragging empty bottles of Prime around. While, by the way, getting kicked out, and then security throws out the bottles of Prime because they think that they're trash too.
Hypothetically, what kind of Prime flavors would they
I don't
be?
know. I like Prime. It's all right. It's good tasting drink, but yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Seems like a bad idea to do that.
Does seem like a bad idea to do that. Can't believe anybody would do that.
Yeah.
Sounds awful.
Keith Lee.
Got a good story for y'all off the air, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's just wrap this up. Darby Allin and Key and Orange Cassidy versus Lee and Strickland. So that's happening too. Blind
Yeah,
eliminated.
when are they going to announce the full brackets?
Whenever Adam Cole and MJF find out who their opponents are tonight as well.
Okay.
I'm begging for a Matt and Jeff team. Matt Hardy and Jeff Jarrett.
Yes, I'm fine with that.
I think
Jeff Cobb suddenly comes back. Jeremy, just plug Overbooked. Oh, and we're gone.
No, I didn't
For
know
now.
he booted himself or okay.
Okay.
Fightful Overbooked. Watch all the stuff we have on the channel. Go watch my Oreo eating contest. I won.
We drop content every day. It's great, wonderful. All the interviews that we did today, those are going to be around as well. Don't follow Jeremy. Follow Fight Talk _ Yes, Sean Ross app.
I'll have a report on a big name that wasn't at Raw. Wasn't
Me.
at Raw Monday.
Was not.
I was not at Raw.
I also wasn't at Raw. Was it me? Am I the report?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sting. Sting was not at Raw.
Sting? It wasn't Sting. He's nodding no. Till then, ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, I'm Match Pearl, JOELBEARL. We'll see you on Friday. Tell Me EXO from MLW will join us to wrap up MLW week. And again, thanks to them for being so accommodating. So we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.